All right, hey, welcome back, everybody. Today we're at day number 46 of this new construction duplex that we're building. This is ground up new construction. We're at day number 46, and today we're going to go tactical. I want to talk about why I like to always have water inside of the plumbing pipes, the clean water supply, before we do the sheetrock. That is something tactical that I do now every single build. Let's talk about why. Okay, so one of the things that we are having to do right now is we're having to have the neighbor help us out and provide some clean water. And one of the neighbors that's behind us, and it's not that big of a deal. They're super nice people, and we're just ensuring that we have clean water coming into the house, and it's just pressurized and just holding steady inside of the property itself. We're not going to get into why the city of Willis has not quite approved our permits yet for the clean water supply. We're still waiting on that to be approved, but it's not a big deal. We're just going to find another way of getting this thing done. So the water is being fed into all of these lines. So here's something that I didn't know about the sheetrock phase that I learned after a while, is that the sheetrock phase is a longer phase of the construction process. It takes about 2 weeks. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's not like it's not something you really want to rush. And the reason you don't want to rush it is because this is what people see when they first come into the house. It's now we're getting into the aesthetics, how everything looks. And what I always say is that if people think that you did a sloppy job on the sheetrock, they're going to assume that you did a sloppy job behind the walls. So we want to eliminate that completely by ensuring that the sheetrock phase and all the other finishes are done in such a manner that it looks of good quality. So here's the way the sheetrock phase works. There's one group of guys that come in and they just do the hanging the sheetrock, which is just going to be putting it up on the walls. That's all they're going to be doing. After those guys are finished, then we have another set of guys that come in and do all the tape and the float. There's another set of guys that, they basically are going to be putting the unions together, the joints, wherever the two pieces of sheetrock are together. They're going to tape that up. Wherever the screws were in, they're going to make sure that there's mud on that so it's all kind of flush or whatever. So those guys will come in and do their work. And then another team of guys will come in and do all the sanding. So now all of the mud is hardened on the walls. It may be a little bit inconsistent. It's not a big deal. They're just going to come in and just sand the entire house. All the ceilings, the walls, everything gets sanded down. After the sanding, you have another set of guys that come in and just do the texture. So, and then after the texture gets dried, you have another individual one or two guys that come in and do any of the fine, detail stuff that may have gotten messed up in the sheetrock phase, that may have missed, whatever the case is. Okay, do the cleanup stuff, whatever. So we're talking about 5 different groups of people that come in to do the sheetrock phase. At least that's the way we do it. Now, the guys who do the hanging are usually younger, and they have to be very fit, mostly because this particular phase of the sheetrock is very labor intensive. So, the sheets that we use are 12-foot sheets. They're very big and they're very heavy. The challenge is whenever you're trying to hold this up and you're trying to hold a piece of sheetrock up. Let's say you're going to be putting it up here on this top part, right? You're going to be holding it up with one hand here, and then you're trying with another hand to, put screws in it. So it's not always a perfect science, guys. So what ends up happening is, if I don't have clean water, if I don't have water inside of here and they accidentally hit a line, what happens is before this, and this is what happened to me before. We put all the sheetrock up. We did everything else. We did the paint. We did the baseboards. The flooring was in. The cabinets were in. And then we put clean water into the pipes, not realizing that one of the sheetrock guys had accidentally hit it. And so what happens then is we have water all over the place, and now we have to try to figure out a way to clean it up. Hey, Judah, you want to say hi?
Hi, I'm Judah.
Nice to meet you, Judah.
And there's a piece of black thing and the green switch is to point it to there. The switch is the yellow part that says the yellow part.
That's
and
right.
And 3 stank.
That's right.
And a piece of wood right there, and it will connect it like this to the batteries.
Okay. All right. Hang on a second. All right, guys. So, and that's the challenge, right? So once you have the flooring in, the baseboards in, it is a big mess that you've accidentally hit a water line, but you didn't know it because there was no clean water inside of the lines, and you don't find out that you have this issue until after the fact. So now, as a standard operating procedure, what we do now is we make sure that we have clean water in the pipe. So in the event that the sheetrock guys accidentally hit a clean water line, that we find out about it while the sheetrock is just barely being put up. So that's why we do it. Now check this out. There's going to be a couple of spots here I want to just show you. You really can't see it that well, but I'm trying to point it out. So you see these 2x4s, they ended up, or this is actually 2x6s in the laundry room, but they're not quite perfectly straight. So once you put a piece of sheetrock up and you're like nailing, you're going to slowly start, going, you think you're going straight, but now you're missing it. And you're like, where is this thing? You're going to have to shift it. You see what I mean? So that's the challenge. Now in the laundry room, it's not that big of a deal because we have these things spaced 16 inches on center. And you know that in the middle here, we're not supposed to, be doing anything. And there's not really that bunch of lines there. But when you start moving to other places, it does become a little bit challenging to ensure that you don't hit the water lines, right? So as you can see here, this particular wall, we're right up against the wall and we don't want to hit the water line as we start going through, right? You're right next to it. And the sheetrock guys, as fast as they are, and they have to be, they have to make sure that they don't hit it. Let's look at this other wall here. This one is very, very tricky. And again, it happens, guys. I'm not going to get upset about it. I'm not going to get, too complicated with it. And I try to ask the guys to make sure that they're careful with it. But at the same time, like, you can't really control it. So you see this particular line here, it is butting up against the 2x4 that's on this wall. So if these guys are just, if they're off by just a little bit, they slowly start creeping over to the right-hand side, they're going to pop that line. And it's not, I mean, no one wants to deal with that, but the point is that, like, I'd rather find out whenever we just barely put up the sheetrock that we've done that instead of like waiting until like everything's taped, float, textured, painted, cabinets are in, faucets are in. Like, that's going to be a humongous problem, and that's what I don't want to, that's what I want to avoid. All right, Judah wants to come in again real quick, guys. All right, so the big thing that I want to, I get tactical on today was the fact that, man, you want to ensure that you have clean water in your pipes on a new construction project before you put the sheetrock up, in case you have any accidents, any issues with somebody popping the lines and accidentally putting a screw through it. You're going to save yourself a lot of time. You're going to save yourself a lot of money. And I'm telling you, take note of this tactical thing because you will need it and use it.
There's a piece of water and he goes 300 around and there's 151 and it points to 0 and it gets...
That's right. This is the clean water supply. All right, guys, that is all we got for you today. Let's make a little smiley face. Yay. And we will see you guys next time. Say goodbye, Judah.
Goodbye. Can I just do it?